So how did the infamous Wall of Champions at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve get its name? Well, for that we need to take a trip back in time 26 years to 1999. Qualifying for the 1999 edition of the Canadian Grand Prix had been a close affair, with the top two of Michael Schumacher and Mika Hakkinen only being separated by 29 milliseconds. A Northern Irishman and a Scotsman of Eddie Irvine and David Coulthard shared the second row, as Rubens Barrichello rounded up the top 5 for Brazil. Frentzen, Fisichella, Lacey, Trulli and Herbert meanwhile closed out the top 10, and another couple drivers a note for this race. 1996 world champion Damon Hill started down in 14th place, 2 places ahead of the 97 world champion Jacques Villeneuve, who was just ahead of Ricardo Zonta. Now, I'ma be honest, I think Murray Walker might have put the commentator's curse on this race, because just before the start, he said this: "The safety car was out 3 times last year. Let's hope it's not out this year." You can see where this is going, can't you? The race got underway and Michael Schumacher had a brilliant start to cut across Hakkinen immediately to maintain his P1 spot, as Irvine stayed where he was in 3rd, and Coulthard fell to 5th behind Fisichella, as further down the field, Trulli decided to play a game of bumper cars at the start of the first corner when he went sliding up the inside and collected poor Lacey and Barrichello, and it ended up that the safety car was out immediately. So much for what Murray's hopes of no safety cars. But it wasn't for very long as the safety car came in at the beginning of lap 3, and the race was on again, and it was a clean restart, unlike the actual start. Coulthard managed to pass Fisichella up to 4th at the end of the lap, as the top 3 remained the same, and they completed lap 3, which is better than can be said for Ricardo Zonta. He wasn't so fortunate enough to be able to complete lap 3, as he binned it at the last chicane and ended his race. That outside wall has claimed its first victim. 4 laps into the race and we're already on the second safety car. Gonna be one of those races then. Now, it was out for quite a few laps. The race didn't get back underway until the start of lap 8. Let's see how many laps we can get this time. And Schumacher got the jump on the field and had a small gap to Hakkinen immediately, about 1.5 seconds, which is exactly what the German would have wanted, to try and put himself in the best possible position to win this race and extend his gap over the Finn at the top of the standings. And that was how things stood for a few laps. Things were calm. Michael, who was looking good in his Ferrari in these early stages, leading Mika by around 2 seconds. DZ was trying to find a way past Irvine, to not much success though, and someone's in the wall at the last chicane again. This time, the last chicane's victim was 1996 world champion Damon Hill on lap 15, losing it out at the exit and hitting the wall. But there was no safety car this time around, because he was able to park it sensibly, but that's new to our drivers who fund the outside wall at the final chicane, one of whom is a world champion. None of this affected the front runners though, and they continued around as normal, Michael Schumacher extending his lead out to 3.3 seconds come around lap 18, and it stayed in the region of 3 seconds or so. Irvine and Coulthard were still in a battle for 3rd and 4th, but they were a bit further back, so it really become a bit of a 12-horse race out front for the win. A private fight, if you will, between Mika Hakkinen's McLaren and Michael Schumacher's Ferrari. But of those 2 drivers, it was looking at this stage more and more like it was going to be Schumacher's race to lose, and oh my god, he's in the wall. The end of lap 30, Michael Schumacher fell foul of the last chicane and became the 3rd driver and 2nd world champion to hit the wall at the final chicane in this race, clipping the curb and slamming it into the wall. That ended his race and handed the race lead and what now looked like to be an easy win to title rival Mika Hakkinen. No safety car came out though. The marshals were able to recover the car without interrupting the race, given there was a crane right there to recover it, so things continued with now Hakkinen having a rather comfortable 7-second or so lead. But it wouldn't be long until we did get our 3rd safety car interrupting proceedings, and sadly for the Haim fans this time it will be their Haim driver Jacques Villeneuve becoming the 4th and final driver and the 3rd world champion of the day to pick a fight with the wall of the last chicane at the end of the 35th lap. His crash kinda more resembled Schumacher's than Zonta's or Hill's, but as with the other 3 crashes, there was nobody hurt, apart from his dignity perhaps, as Murray Walker quipped.
But as you can see, he was perfectly alright, only his dignity has been hurt.
And 3 world champions fighting with the outside wall at the final chicane in one race is why we now call it the Wall of Champions. No one else hit the Wall of Champions in this race, and in the end, after Frentzen hit a different wall after a brake issue, the race finished under safety car for what was actually the first time in Formula 1. Honestly, fitting. That's actually pretty fitting that this race ends under safety car, if you ask me. Hakkinen was indeed the one to take the win from Fisichella and Irvine joining him on the podium. Non-Wall of Champions, but still Canada-related 2026 calendar tangent before I end. They actually did it. They have actually scheduled the Canadian Grand Prix next year for the same day as the Indy 500. Cheers to the genius who thought that was a good idea. It's like, there's a 3-week gap from Miami to Canada. What was wrong with, like, the 17th or whatever day it is the previous Sunday is? And yeah, it would be a 3-week gap to Monaco, but then it gives time for Indy to breathe, you know? And I mean, on the 17th, they would still clash with qualifying and that for Indy, but that's not as bad as a clash with the race. Rip to the 2026 Canadian Grand Prix viewership numbers. I don't really have any more notes on that on the 2026 calendar, other than rip to the teams for the final for the final 6 races. 2 triple headers in a row. We don't know which ones of them are going to be sprint races, but we can probably assume that COTA and Brazil will probably both be sprint races because they actually really work, and Qatar will probably be a sprint race as well. It wouldn't surprise me, although providing they keep the sprints for next year, I'd assume they will. Other than that, not really any more notes other than one final one, okay? Madrid, you better be good if we're losing Imola for you. But no, other than the questionable scheduling of the Canadian Grand Prix, hoping Madrid is good considering we're losing Imola for it, and 2 triple headers to round off the season. Not all that bad, honestly. Could be better, could be worse. I suppose it's not that bad that we go most of the season without triple headers, but anyway, back to the topic of the video. That's how the Wall of Champions got its name. We have 3 world champions on the grid. Do you think we're going to see any of them hit the Wall of Champions this weekend? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new around here. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.